Okay.
All right, students. Can I get five up high? From everybody. From everybody. Great, thank you so much. Today we're going to talk about comprehension. Trying to understand what you're reading. And some of you may have trouble with that, I do. And so I get where you're coming from. But let me ask you something. How do you eat an elephant? Did you say with fries? Good night, nurse. No, the way you eat an elephant is one bite at a time. It's big, it's overwhelming, and so what do? You just take a bite at a time, and you just keep munching until it's gone. And so that's what you do when you read, is you just take a bite at a time and understand it, break it down, until you can fully digest it, okay? So we have this big, fat, juicy worm of a sentence that we're going to look at today, and we're going to talk some about clauses and phrases and punctuation. So who can tell me what is punctuation? Casey? What does it tell you to do? Tells you when to slow down. That's right. Anybody else? Mary? Tells you when to stop. It's kind of like road signs, isn't it? Tells you when to slow down, tells you when to stop, tells you what to do, tells you to look out ahead. And then we have clauses. Clauses are usually set off by a comma, like right here. There are two different kinds. You could have independent clauses or you could have dependent clauses. What that means is an independent clause means if you take it out of the sentence by itself, it can't stand alone. It doesn't mean anything to you. A dependent clause means if you take it out, an independent clause, means if you take it out of the sentence, it's an actual sentence on its own, okay? And it's joined by a comma to the rest of the sentence to help give understanding and clarity to the entire sentence. So here's what I want us to do today. Let's look at this sentence first of all and let's read it. John Mark, would you mind reading that sentence for us, please? Okay. Thank you, sir. So let's see here. This is what I want us to do. I want you to read the sentence carefully again together. You're going to get a shoulder partner. You're going to read that sentence, and I want you to ask yourself the question, what do I know? What do I already know about some of the things that's in this sentence? Then I want you to write down, what are some things that I don't know? Something you don't understand. Because here's the deal. When you're putting down what you know, then you're drawing from what you have filed away in your brain or encoded in the past. And then when you do other things, for example, looking up text, looking up definitions, Googling something, you're adding to it. So what I want y'all to do the first time is just determine, what do I know? And what about this sentence do I not have a clue about? Okay? All right, so here's what you're going to do. When I say go, you're going to take 2 minutes with your shoulder partner. You're going to discuss your responses at volume level 1. Richard, what are you going to do? All right, Samantha, at what volume level? 1, very good. And what question are we going to ask? Roberta? What you know, what else? Thomas? Right, what you don't know. Okay, when I say go, are you ready, set, go. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Eyes on me. Did you come up with some good information? Do you know what you don't know? Do you know what you know? All right, working with a partner helps, doesn't it? It helps when you do that. Let's read this sentence together one more time. During September and October of 1774, delegates from all 13 colonies met together in one place for the first time ever in the First Continental Congress in Philadelphia. George Washington was one of the delegates. All right? Now here's what I want you to do alone. I want you to annotate this sentence. Okay? And let me just tell you how I do things and how I study. If I ever have a book that I'm studying, it's going to be marked up like you wouldn't believe. It's going to have notes on the side, highlighter, flags. I mean, you know, it's going to be fun to look at because it's going to be colorful. But I've broken it down, and what you're seeing is a visual form of me chewing that up. So what I want you to do is this. If by chance you don't know what a delegate is, you Google what a delegate is, okay? Whatever else that you may not completely understand, and for example, the 13 colonies. Now I have an idea of those 13 colonies, but I don't know exactly all 13. And many times, if you'll clear that up, not only does that give you an understanding, it's going to give you a little confidence because you know something about that sentence. It's going to help you to remember. So just because you think you have a good idea, go ahead and take that extra step and annotate and understand completely. Okay, so here's what I want you to do. You're going to go piece by piece. You're going to go chunk by chunk. You're going to determine, what does this sentence mean? So when I say go, you're going to have 3 minutes this time. And you're going to silently and independently annotate the sentence. Remember, highlight, color, mark it, make it look pretty. Make it interesting for you to study. And then we're going to talk just a little bit about that, okay? So, Casey, how long do you have? 3 minutes, that's right. And Timothy, how long did I say? At what voice level? I'm sorry. We always do one, don't we? Very good. Thank you for remembering that. All right, ready and go. Okay, guys, look up front here for me, please. Every eye this way. Everybody, all ears and eyes and Timmy. Let me ask you this. What's a delegate? Landon, what's a delegate? It's a person like a representative, that's right. And we have them, don't we? We call them senators, and we call them from the House of Representatives. In other words, every state has 2 senators that represent the entire state, and they try to make decisions based on what they think the people of that state would want. House of Representatives breaks down a state into little districts, and based on the population of those districts, you get so many people who can vote what you want. So that's what a delegate is. And those 13 colonies, were y'all surprised at some of them? New Hampshire, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia. All those northeastern states, right? Because that's where we settled first. And there was 13. And why do you think it was unique that they all gathered together in one place? Do you know, Casey? They had a big important meeting, right? They got to see one another. But think about this. You've looked up where all those places were. Back in those days, they didn't have transportation like we have. And so it took them a while to get there. And so that was really a unique thing, that they could all meet together in one place at one time. First Continental Congress is just our first Congress. But let me ask you this last question here. George Washington was one of the delegates. Well, that's just thrown in there, isn't it? Well, why do you think that's important? It's obviously important to this text, but why? I mean, what if I just said, you know, New Hampshire was one of the states, out of the blue? Why is it important to know George Washington was one of the delegates? Well, you need to know who George Washington was. Who was George Washington? Cindy? The first president of the United States, that's right. So he was also a delegate. So that makes that really interesting. Do you have any questions about that? Y'all done a great job today. Okay, thank you.